Hey, Jamie, Andy, what's up?
Well, hello, hello. Can you hear me, Andy?
Okay, thank you. I was on mute, obviously,
Uh,
yelling
you
at
know,
my family.
I had a premonition. Hey, happy Thursday. What's going on over there?
Oh man, you too. Thank you, Scott. Hello, Jamie, and hello everybody out there. See a lot of familiar faces, seeing some new faces too. So let's just dive right in. Thank you so much for being here today. And before we do anything, let's take care of our disclaimer. Okay. Guys, what you see and hear today is only for educational purposes. Um, do not construe anything as investment advice. All right, that's not what we're here to do. We are to provide content and hopefully entertain you guys and teach you and help you, but we are not trying to provide, like I said, investment advice. If you're seeking that, you probably want to see a stockbroker or a registered advisor, somebody who can act in that capacity. All right, before we get going with the content today, let me cover first some very important content for all the people who are new in here. Uh, our old standbys, they already know how good our support, education, and training is, but I want to tell you about it. Guys, we realize that it's a very powerful software, but we also realize it's very intuitive, and it's our job to see that you understand how intuitive it is. And so we provide tons of training, education, and support here at Trade Ideas. It all starts in the trading room. I'm sure most of you have been in there. If you haven't, it's a great hangout, about 500 traders in there. It's moderated by Barry. He's a great trader, and you get to look at the software and see, what he's looking at as he navigates the marketplace. So great hangout. Get in there if you haven't been. We have webinars Monday through Thursday at 5 Eastern time every day. Jamie, Steve Gomez, and myself kind of juggle the three of the webinars on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. But on Wednesday, we normally give you our CEO, Dan Merking, along with Brad Williams, our CTO. And we also kind of reserve that spot for any guest webinar speakers. So you will see that a lot on Wednesdays as well. All right, and let's not forget about Friday support session, guys. It's a very helpful 3-hour webinar. Starts at 11 Eastern time on Friday, and boy, we just open it up for Q&A using a GoToMeeting like we're doing today, and you fire away questions and we answer them. Great hangout, guys, to learn more. Any questions that you didn't get answered during the week or at any time. Come in there, you'll learn something. All right, let's not forget about TI University. When you subscribe to Trade Ideas, okay, you want to make sure you register for TI University. This is a 4-part course, starts on Mondays at noon Eastern, and it runs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, okay, and it's a graduating class from Beginner 101 to you get Advanced 401. If you cannot make it during that time, dudes, we do have these recorded on the YouTube channel. So there's no excuse for not getting this education that we think is vital, to your growth here with the software, and obviously to our goal is to lead to being more profitable with your trading. And I promise you, our software can do that. All right, guys, Brokerage Plus. I know a lot of you out there are using it. Jamie's been keeping us informed every day on the executions coming through. They are rocketing. It is a great interface to do your trading on, whether it be using our AI, your own strategies, or even if you're not auto trading at all or gray box trading. It's still, like I said, a great interface to enter trades by using your chart. It just has much more sex appeal, if you will, than your.
Hey, Andy, I'll attest to that because, as you know, been, using it actively.
Yeah.
And, you're like, do I want stop losses and profit targets? Well, not if I'm in the chair. So you're just like, okay, well, I'll just put some exaggerated profit targets and stop losses out there anyway. That way they're on the chart, and all you have to do when you're ready is just drag them down, drag them up. It's really great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Jamie can vouch for that. And I used it for a while, but our demo ran out, and hopefully we'll have it again next week. because Sean and Michael is going to be meeting with IB, and that's tops on our list to give us our demos back. Otherwise, I just may have to open an account and start trading again, and you guys would never hear from me. Yeah. All right. I say day trade. Day trading is what takes up all your time. You can still swing trade and do what I do. All right, guys, agenda for today. Market recap as we always do, and then Holly recap. Holly started out today a little sluggish, but even with the market still kind of in its funk, she was able to turn some nice gains around on a couple of the segments, and we'll go over that for sure. I'll hand it over to Jamie, and he'll have some insights on individual trades, etc. And I think you'll enjoy the class today. I'm going to talk about the power of the change in time frame filters and the difference between that and the range filters, like a 5-day range, a 10-day range, not position in range. That's different. I'm talking about a 5-day range. I'm going to show you how you can use these two together. It's much like I did on the when I created my bull flag alerts, or top list, I should. Well, I'm going to show you how we're going to take the score and find stocks in a tight range, and I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very important. I think if you learn something from this today, it's something that you're going to be able to take with it and use in a lot of your own strategies. All right, before we do that, let me just back out of here and we will jump into the market recap. All right, come here. There we go. Let me pull you down that way. And let's put up the old SPY here. Oh, what was that? That was a good looking chart there. All right, I'll have to go back. All right, guys, here we are in the spiders. I've erased all my lines because now we have broken through this resistance that I had put back over here. Let me go ahead and draw that again. This is the level I was concerned about for the longest time. We finally got through that, okay? But how did we get through that? And you can see here, it's been a series of kind of gaps. We're moving higher kind of on gaps. There's not much intraday trading. That kind of concerns me. Well, it makes it hard for the day trader too, of course, when you get this back and forth action. But also when the movement is in gaps. And I made a funny analogy, I thought, the other day. Jamie and I are talking to the traders. I said, it's kind of like if you have a hot air balloon you're trying to lift off the ground and it won't go anywhere. You got the heat going and it was just sitting there and it won't lift off the ground. So you grab it and you take it up to a very top of a tall building and you try to launch it from there because the air is thinner, you know. I kind of feel like that
slowly sinks back
yeah,
down.
exactly. Well, that's what I kind of feel like right now. We've launched this, we've taken it to the top of a building where it's a little bit thinner, meaning we got through some resistance, and now it's just kind of, I don't know if it's going to get through that, you know, first layer of the atmosphere or whatever. But
oh yeah, and it is, because as our buddy Mr. Gomez said the other day, it's the dance of the sugar plum dojis.
I missed that one. That's a good one. All right, but this is what we're looking at. You can see kind of where we're getting hung up here. If I draw a line right over in this kind of congestion right here, I think you're going to see a little area that kind of coincides with where we are now. If you look back over here, we got a little bit of mess right here. This is not heavy resistance, obviously, like we saw over here, but we're kind of back and forth seeing we can get through there. And really the volume has been anemic lately. I think there's a real good chance we move higher with another gap, and we'll see what happens. But boy, we're just having a really difficult time. When you see basically we've gone from 279 all the way up to 287 with, this was really the only day we traded, and that was not a very big intraday move. Okay, it was mostly all in the gap. So that gets a little bit frustrating, but we'll see what happens. There's a chance we could back and fill, you know, try to fill this gap right here. There's a very good chance for that. But we get above this area, guys, and there's really nothing to prevent us from going to all-time highs, which is right over there. So let's see if first we can get in this range, and then, you know, see if it's going to be a quick move up to this high. I suspect it might, because I'm not really seeing a whole lot of you know, congestion over here. You get to this level, this high right here, and boy, we could be there. Let's take a look at the Qs real quick. and kind of the same thing. I'm not going to draw it a little bit closer to the highs, but I'm not going to mark this up. You can kind of see what's going on there. Strength in the Qs. And the Dow looking a little bit stronger than the spiders there, that's for sure. But you know my feeling on the Dow. I mean, it's 30 stocks, so I mean, obviously it will have an influence on the other indices, but it's not one that I follow very often. IWM, I haven't looked at this in a couple of days. Let's see if it's finally, you know, making a move. And not really. I mean, it's trying, but boy, it's still below its 200-day moving average. So that could be a bogey there. You gotta watch this. If it can't get above that 200 and it rolls over, remember back over here when things started getting ugly, especially right here, the IWM kind of led the way down. So it can be a leader. So if the small caps cannot get going and roll over, keep an eye on, you know, on the other averages for sure. Yes, David, we will. Well, we're not going to show automated trading today. I wish we could. The market's closed, but you know, if you could make it to our session tomorrow, you know, we could talk more about it. But it's just not on the docket.
Excellent idea. I was just in the process of typing a response to David. So David, yeah, tomorrow would be great if you could pop into that support webinar and we could walk through Brokerage Plus if Andy doesn't have time to squeeze it in today, for sure.
Yep. All right, so that's pretty much it. Jamie, you have anything you want to add? I would say keep an eye on the IWM and see if we can't start trading higher versus just gapping higher. But
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The volume has been anemic. You know, we had the inchworm grind today. But hey, on a brighter note, Holly did well today. Like, hey, I feel like she's her old self today. Some really great examples.
I was frustrated this morning, but yeah, she did good today. I thought, and Jamie, if you know, if I'm trying to think if I had anything to add, I will say this: I thought you know, 2.0 had a really good day with only, what is that, 6 trades. Some nice risk off and risk on. See how the risk off actually outperformed risk on. So that was a really good day in 2.0. Holly Neo, not so much, but Holly Grail. So I don't have any.
Interesting thing, I keep reflecting back to the earlier part of the session. I was like, well, 2.0 has no trades, and that one didn't get started till later in the day.
That's right.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. We don't see that a whole lot.
But yeah, if you want, there was some obviously good trades in there. I'm sure you're gonna hit on them. And if you want to go ahead and take it now, I really don't have a whole lot to add. I'm sure I will as you're speaking or after you're done. But
yeah, sure. Let me grab it here.
Go ahead and grab it.
All right. You should have eyes on my screen momentarily.
Yep, I got them.
Okay, so here we have the Holly blotters up, 1.0 up here, 2.0 in the middle, and middle Neo at the bottom. So always like to point out the good risk-on opportunities and, you know, how we can identify those in real time to try to extract a little bit of this spread here. If I sort by risk-on, we're not going to see a whole lot in 2.0, but we had some really nice risk-on examples up here out of Holly 1.0. And of course, this AGN, Andy, you can probably read my mind and know exactly what I'm going to say here.
Yep.
And Holly, you know, when I made the comment earlier, Holly acting kind of like her old self, in some of the prior webinars, when we're looking at some of these trades that she's in where she gets out on profit save or reduced risk, we weren't seeing this little, you know, this little flat consolidation area or real small range. And of course, today, just like it should be, or just like I'm used to seeing. Holly made the entry here at 147.78, and look what she did. She profit saved for a flat, right? Kind of a human characteristic as well. But really, as far as this chart goes and the way this thing was moving, there was nothing to be afraid of. Matter of fact, you should have embraced this one and doubled up on it once you know what you're seeing here, because we get the signal right here below this line, and of course, boom, boom, boom. What do we think? man, that was a nice little opening range, and now it's just about to break it. So she gives us the statistical advantage before the break even occurs, saying, hey, really looks good here. What were the stats on the breakout strategy today? Let's pull the strategy panel over here, and let me switch segments. Of course, everybody knows that attends regular. I love breakouts. They're my favorite pattern for the simplicity. This one called it just a little bit early, and so anything coming out of there today had a 61.6% chance. So we're thinking, hey, nice odds to begin. If it gets through here, it could head higher. So Holly signal here, and even the chance to maybe press it a little bit or just take a larger position because we know what might happen. Of course, we get a little pop, and then we just ebb and flow, right there. Needless to say, Holly got bored. The longer she stays in the trade and it's not going up, well, she's going to punch out early, and she has the option to, and she exercised that option on this one. But look, we got a $1.59 here in spread till the close. So, if you can identify, hey, what's going on here, we get the punch. Volume wasn't stupendous or anything, but it was still above normal, even into the close, trading almost 2 million there. But just a nice little sideways action. Nice part, never, acts like it's going to come down here and stop us out. And then even presents yet another opportunity here once it pops through that high again, and then we get the biggest move of the day. So that's about as pain-free of a trade as you could ever hope to get. Now, on the risk-off aspects of it, we see Holly exiting here. We just simply make the decision. She's just pulling the plug a little early. I really love what's going on here. And we make the decisions to stay in either the whole lot or peel out a half. If you're not sure, keep the other half. A break-even stop would have kept you in this one all day, and that's always nice when that happens, because if it does roll over, you still made money on the, or in this case, you didn't lose money. Usually she's taking a little bit out, but on this one, we got the flat. Bottom line is, you would have stayed in it for the duration using that level. Or excuse me, you know what? I've seen another blue line down here, Andy, and for a minute I thought that was the stop or the entry price. No, this one, you would have had to stick to the hard stop. But I don't think this type of action is making anybody too nervous, right? So just a lot of beautiful things about that trade. This one, I loved this trade because number one, I'm always like, really? Ice, the newest mousetrap, the Yeti ice chest, all the rage, right? I was just like, okay, so my old ice chest, when I wake up in the morning, there's still ice in there. So it's like, how much colder do I need it to be, But anyway, Yeti is the new mousetrap for the cooler world. In any case, not a bad entry from Holly up here. Where's my blue arrow? Okay, it's coming from the top because it's a short. That's why I was looking for it at the bottom. Just another good example. This is a little more wiki action here and a little more stretched out, but pretty much the same theme. A little sideways movement as she makes the short entry here. Exercises that same audible today on that sideways movement. In this case, sticking to the original stop, and we can't even, there we go. Now we can see it. Wicks up here, tries but does not get it. Beautiful thing. And then marches on down. So once again, here's the level where she pulls the plug. We, if you would have used the break-even methodology, and this is a good point to make on a day when we had this type of action, right? When we have a day like this, these are going to be a lot more prevalent where you barely get stopped out if you're trying to use that break-even level. So just keep in mind, on days like today where we're ebbing and flowing, probably sticking to that hard stop is a good idea. Excuse me. In any case, had we decided to stay in it, take a little bit more risk, that risk was rewarded in the Yeti trade on the short side. Where is this thing? It's not that old of a stock. Yeah, just coiling up. In any case, not a bad risk-on, risk-off spread here to the tune of 59 cents, right? And the thing about this is even if you get an extra dime or a nickel, man, over time, that really does add up.
Sure.
And lastly, another one that looks pretty much the same, just coming, 3 different strategies producing these things. We got the Movado group here, nice little entry and some sideways action. This one, interestingly enough, I guess this sideways action didn't put her, it's like, okay, well, Holly, how's this one different from the others? I don't know. I guess it's something to do with the code. This one made it the entire duration on the timed exit, which was the bullish trend change, coming in with a 90-minute hold time. So this one went the duration. Same methodology here. This one, however, we wick through that entry line one more time before the risk-off time frame runs out. But had you used the break even on this one, you would have stayed in it. We still got some wick action, but a little push higher. So all in all, some really decent risk-on opportunity coming out of the one. And then really, well, we still got 2 more here. This tech was another beautiful one. I like this one a lot simply because we got the same thing happening as the AGN. Now this one was float on, but notice the same type of little pattern emerged, that nice little tight range break. Of course, it seems like every stock that we look at today is having some kind of wick action. But hey, once again, statistical probability coupled with a nice tight range break, and we can see what happens here. Once again, hugging the entry line after the risk off was over, but a move higher. And once again, whether we play the wick up here as the real high or use the body of the candle, it's really a personal preference. Some people like bodies, some people include the wicks. But guess what we got here? We got another opportunity to leverage or re-engage the stock and get really what was the biggest move of the day, pretty much in that tech. And lastly, I don't want to eat up all your time here, Andy.
No worry about it.
GWRE, and once again, what do we got? We got that sideways action working, and Holly, as it ebbs and flows, just slightly under, she exercises that other option, or audible, to reduce risk, 17 cents, but as fate would have it, we tempt the stop area, but never trigger it. So bottom line, if you said, you know what, this is not scaring me, maybe you take a peek over here at the daily and go, well, we've already wicked all the way down to this little area here. Once you start to see this type of action, you think to yourself, well, it looks like the sellers could not keep control. And, through this area here, they kept them in check, and we got to push higher. So a little bit different of the others, but risk on presented itself nonetheless, keeping that hard stop. Would have been an up and down and, yay, and then damn it. But in the end, you're paid.
Yep.
That's about it for Holly. Good showing.
All right, send it back to me, and I will go over some of those yesterday hammers because I do like some of those patterns there. Let's see, there we go. You got me?
You're back.
All right. Yeah, there was a couple of really good trades in from the strategy yesterday hammer, today strength. And Duke, as a matter of fact, let me just close this up so I can get the intraday too. Alrighty. And a beautiful call there in Duke. It's one of those no pain calls where as soon as it executes, it just moves higher for the whole rest of the day. These are all day holds. There's no short-term 60 minutes or 90-minute timed exit. These are all day holds, and that's why you're seeing such good risk off compared to risk on. You can see there, great trading day for 2.0. I mean, guys, remember, look at the backdrop on the market. Look what Holly had to work with today. More crap. We've seen this now for, it seems like, 3 weeks, and it makes it tough for any strategy. And I thought, Holly, looking at what she had to work with, did an incredible job. WEC is another one. There's yesterday's hammer. Okay, there you got the and basically, let me explain what's going on here when you see these yesterday's hammer. Okay, this strategy. Okay, yesterday it tried to sell off and buyers stepped in. So today, after you get that tail and it pops back up, the strategy is calling for, buyers came in yesterday, they got it cut. That's kind of a weird looking hammer, but that's how it works out anyway. Buyers are stepping in, maybe they'll come back today, and sure enough, you saw it there in Duke. Beautiful, nice daily. If I'm ever looking, you guys, you always ask, can you swing trade any hollies? That is subjective, and this is the kind of stuff where, hey, nice pattern here. It's in the upper portion of its yearly range. Nice 5, 6, 7 days of pullback, and then you had a reversal today on some pretty good, decent relative volume. So this is one where I may stick a chunk in my back pocket and see if I can't hold that at least to a move and see if you can get through this 90 level. But yeah, I wanted to point out some of those yesterday hammers because that's a strategy that's been doing pretty good. So keep an eye on that. And it's always a good idea to keep an eye on the strategy, see which ones are working, which ones aren't. You know, we don't control which ones make the cut, so you know, it's a good idea for you to, you know, kind of keep an eye on what strategies are performing good. All right. Let's move on to the next topic, guys, where we can talk about ranges and changes. Ranges and changes, I should have called it. All right. Yeah, there you go. All right, guys. So let me pull up a new top list. We'll start from scratch and build this one together. All right. So we're just going to click on this for all of you guys who are in here for the first time. What we're doing, we're going to build a new top list, which is kind of like a scan. There's no alert. Okay. It's just a certain amount of filters. If the stock satisfies all these filters at any time during the day, they're going to appear in the top list. All right. So I know people have liked in the past when I've shared my bull flag and how I created it, and so I'm going to spend some time here talking about the two filters. Okay, the first one is I'm going to talk about is range. I'm going to type in range. No, first one, I'll take that back. I think it's best to start with change. So we do change. You can see all the changes we have here. Change in 2 minutes, change in 5 minutes, change in 30, change in 60, change from the close. We can go to days. There's tons of changes. So keep in mind what this is calculating. It's only calculating the change in, let's take 5 day, for example, because that's what we're going to be working with in my example I'm showing you. And we're going to be working with 5 days, change in 5 days. So basically, don't try to overthink this. I know a lot of people think that, well, gosh, if I put change in 5 days and I put a max over here of 1%, that means the stock has not moved more than 1% over the last 5 days. No, that's not what it means. It means exactly what it says, is how much the price has changed over the last 5 days. So theoretically, you could have a stock that's flat. In other words, it's flat over the last 5 days, but it could have had a very wide range. In other words, it could have went up 3%, down 3%, and then came back to the flat area. So it may look like, because the change in the time frame hasn't moved much over that period, it may seem to you that there hasn't been much movement in the stock, but this is not what this looks for at all. This is looking for only the change in that period. So when you're building some of your alerts, and I think after today you'll start using these two together, because what I have found is you can use these change in days along with the range days and create some really cool stuff, much like I did with the bull flag. All right, so let's go and let's look at range. All right, and we're going to go with a we're going to go with a 5 day. We'll do the same thing. We'll do a 5 day range. All right. Now, a 5 day range is exactly what it appears to be. It's a range. How much has that stock moved over the last 5 days? Now, this is where you can come in and say, I only want the stock to have moved. I got dollars. I don't want dollars. Hold on. There we go. So if I come in now and I put a range, a max of 1%, and click on our Show Me button, the 5 day range is no more than 1%. So that means the entire range, okay, has not moved more than 1%. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward once you start to just look at it logically. It can be confusing with a lot of people, and especially when you're new to the software. But just keep in mind, a 5-day range is exactly what it says it is. Now, you can come in here and you can say, if you want something to have moved a lot, in other words, you can come in here and put change in 5 days. You can put 5 in the minimum, okay? So now the stock has moved 5%, okay? And the price was at least up 5% from the 5 days ago. I'm sorry, I went back into change. I'm getting confused myself, Jamie. Okay, the 5-day range is at least 5%. So that means a stock, and it doesn't care which direction. It's just been a range. It's been ranging at least 5% in the last 5 days. Okay, so if you're really wanting stocks that are been volatile, you can really put a very high minimum in there, and you can find stocks that have been really volatile over the last 5 days. Not so much volatile, but has at least a huge, a big range in it. Maybe it's been all in one direction. But it can, it can go up 10% and come back to 5%. That still had a range of 10%. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind. All right, so what we want to do here today, I thought I'd create a nice little top list, and we're going to use these two filters together. And we're going to use it along with my stock composite rating, okay, that we've done. So the first thing I'm going to do, I only want stocks that are strong. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put minimum rating of 85. And for those of you who are not aware of our stock composite rating, it goes from 30 to 100, 30 being the lowest, 100 being the highest. So anything above 85 is pretty darn good, okay? So I'm going to put, I only want to see stocks in this top list that have an 85, let's show me a histogram. So looking, that's not right, 1,000. I guess it is. All right,
sounds
so
about right, Andy.
Yeah, could be, yeah.
And you know what? It just dawned on me. I mean, it'd be interesting to start kind of keeping count and seeing how many high quality patterns are out there. As kind of like the body of the snake catches up to the head. Interesting.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a good idea. All right, so what we want to do, all right, is we want to find stocks that have been in a tight range, okay, over the last 5 trading days, okay? All right, we can come in here simply and put 1% range. So we're only going to see stocks that have a score above 85 or higher, and the range over the last 5 days is no more than 1%. That's pretty tight, especially on some of these higher price stocks. So we're going to max it out at 1%. Okay, that's going to be our range. But I'm also thinking that's not good enough for me, because I don't want the stock to be down in 5 days. Okay, I want it to be up in 5 days. Not much, obviously, because obviously it will throw us out of this range. Okay, so what I want to do, if I want it to be up, I simply come into the min here and I put 0 in the min. Okay, so now I know the stock is going to be up during that 5-day period, and it's going to be in a tight range. And then now I can come in here, and if I want the change in the 5 days to also be kind of tight, in other words, I want it pretty much a flat line almost, I can come in here and put, I don't want it up more than 1% in 5 days. So now I know it's in a very tight range, and also it hasn't moved a lot, okay? So anything else? Let's put an average daily volume in there too. Let's put an average daily volume of 300,000. I want the stock to have at least traded 300,000 shares a day over the last 10 days. So that's really all I'm going to do. Okay, we're going to use these two very important filters to create what I think is going to be, some interesting chart patterns. All right, so let's just come in here. I'm not going to give this name. I've already created it and saved it in my cloud, so I'll share that with you guys later. So let's go. Let's see what we got. I do want to add some columns though. Now I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pull up the one I created. Be easier.
I'm excited, Andy.
Well, it's interesting, Jamie, but I mean, it's not. I tell you where I think it's really going to we have so many stocks right now that have a high rating because of the technical parameters. The stock market is getting close to all-time highs again, so you do have a lot of stocks in here. But I think where this is going to really be interesting is when you have a pullback in the market and you're still seeing a lot of stocks. Now, of all those stocks, look here, these are the only ones meeting our parameters. So looks like maybe about 35 or 40 maybe. But let's take a look and see what kind of pattern we're getting. See, let me just zoom out a little bit on the daily here so we can get a better view here. Now I know this first one is, I believe it's either some sort of buyout because it's just been flat lighting. There's really no way to prevent that. You don't see too much of that though. All right, let's take a look at Comcast. Well, there's one. There you have it. You know, stock. It's been over the last 5 days. Look at that, in a very tight range, sitting up here next to all-time highs. You know, that's something you may want to keep an eye out. Like I say, I have a hard time when the market's up here. I'm more interested to see what this looks like when you get a pullback in the market and you have stocks that are holding up at these levels. But still, you'll see some really good patterns in here. There's another one, you know, just kind of hanging out in that 5 day close to an all-time high if it takes out that level right there. And I'm not going to share any price alerts, but you guys can take this and mark them up later if you want to and create some price alerts. So if it does trigger, you know, that high, maybe something you want to look at. There's another one. This is like a ADR, isn't it? Yeah, it's kind of gappy. I don't want to care for that. And not only that, I've added, let's put this right here. I've added the 5 day percentage so you can see how much it moves. You can see this UL has not changed at all in 5 days. All right, very little in the 5 day range. Remember, this has to be below 3%. So all of these numbers are going to be below 3%. We know the range is, did I put 1 in the last one? I meant to put 3%, guys. 1% range is my bad. So this is the configuration. I think I misled you guys. Yeah, the 5 day range, you want a 3% in 5 days, not a 1%. 1% would be really tight. We can take a look at that when I'm done to see what it would be. Or all we got to do is look right in here. Yeah, you're not seeing too many with a 1% range in 5 days. It's ULTI maybe. Oh, that's another buyout. All right, let's take a look at some more. There you have it. You know, just tight range. These are all stocks that have a good, you know, score and are in a tight range. You're not going to see those ones that have really, you know, a lot of hundreds in here, because those things are like this one right here that are just, you know, exploding. Those are where you get your hundreds. Peg, there's another one just kind of hanging out up there. So you're seeing, guys, it's working. I mean, this is definitely setting up. You're gonna see a lot of stocks in here, and you know, you can do with it what you want. You can take this and tighten up the range. By the way, let me see what happens if I do that.
Also a great source to go in there and set a bunch of price alerts on some of those nice dailies that might bust out.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if I did, I think one would be too tight. Let me put 1.5 and see how much it brings it down. Whoa. Yeah, so you're going to really see some, you know, pretty tight ranges in this red hat's interesting. You can see today it flirted with that level. It just cannot get up here. But there's another one that if it breaks above that level right there, you can see it could be off to the races. This could be developing what's called a nice cup and handle and going through. Procter & Gamble, there's another one. That's another buyout, obviously. Corporate bond yields. You know, Jamie, that was something I noticed. I noticed a lot of dividend yield stocks, residential, commercial REITs and things like that.
Hey, try the old EPS 0.01 minus 0.01. See how that affects the number of stocks.
Yeah, it probably won't, but let's try it.
Yeah, because those things report earnings.
Yeah, they do. They do. -0.1. But you're right. It's good to have in there to eliminate it. And let me go back and put the 3%.
And Waleed asked the question that was kind of going through my mind as well, Andy. You know, I'm like, well, what about putting this in an alert window and back testing it? Have you even done that, or is it just been this top list only?
Here's the problem that I find out with playing around with ranges. You're never sure, you know, when they're going to go. You know, it's like this is Comcast. You know, it tickled, it tickled, it tickled.
Right.
It's almost, yeah. It's best. It's the same thing with my my bull flag, you know, indicator. I tried to turn that into alert, and there were just too many head fakes right here. You know, just you get a lot of head fakes.
You'd have to say it has to be above this level, the volume has to be there, and then by the time you added those filters, there'd probably be 2 stocks on the list, or it never would fire, you know.
Yep. Here's an example right here. Dr. Dre, man, he you know, went to highs, took out that range, and just came right back. You do get a lot of noise. Now, what this could be used, you know, a lot of times too, is maybe for swing trading. Okay, where when you do poke out of that range, you buy a little bit and you know, and hold for a multi-day move, maybe using the bottom of these wicks or something. Well, the stops are subjective based upon how long your holding time is going to be and how much you want to risk, obviously, but in your share size. But people can use this different ways. There's another one. And here's Dr. Dre was actually a Duke Realty. You know, there's another trust, REIT. Cincinnati Financial's kind of hanging in there. But anyway, guys, I wasn't building this to give you something that you could, you know, obviously take. This is going to be great, and I'm going to share it with you. But I wanted to show you guys so you could get an idea, because it's kind of like I did, you know, with my bull flag. And let me just go ahead and pull that up. Let me see. I have no idea if anything's going to be in here, but let's do the bull flag daily. I don't know if there's going to be anything in here. Yeah, we had nothing in there. Let me look back to yesterday and see if we had anything. Yeah, a few things. Stag, and just kind of hanging out up there. You've had, see now what I'm going to show you what I've done here to create these bull flags, guys. And this is how this can become real powerful once you get to use these things. So if I go into configuration, you might ask, how did I show, or you know, how did I set a parameter to assure myself there was a move forward before it started trading sideways? Well, once again, it's going back to the change in 10 days. See, I had 3% in here. So I know the stock over the last 10 days have been up 3%. So I had to move higher. And once again, here's my 5-day range. Okay. Or change in 5 days. No, 5-day range. Now I've actually put a 1% minimum in here to eliminate those that were buyouts. Okay. So I'm trying to, I want the stock to have at least moved 1%, but no more than 3%. So I'm getting some bullish flags in here. Move up, sideways action, that's textbook. You could put a little alert right here. Create price alert. Now I got my bull flag. Boom, if it takes out that price alert, that could be something, you know, that entices me. There's one that actually probably would have been, this would have been back over here on this day too, and it's finally moving out of that range. Mickey D's. The problem when you get up to higher price stocks, they look like they're out of their ranges, but they're not. The price is so high, so you got a 3% move can be, you know, a nice little $5 or $6 in some of these higher price stocks. So you got to be careful. A lot of their flags won't be as nice as some of the lower price ones.
Hey, Andy, one of the attendees was asking if you could show the settings again.
Oh, sure. Which one? The bull flag?
Show the lower values and settings. I think, yeah, the bull. That's it.
Okay. All right. So what I'm doing here is I am setting. I could take some of these out. I got to change from previous close. I could probably take some of these out and get more data in here, but the key ones right here are change in 10 days. I got 3. I click on the show me button. The price, we know what the change is. Now the price was at least up 3% over the last 10 days, from the last 10 days, or from 10 days ago. So we know now the stock has moved up at least 3%. It could be a 5 or 6% move. All right, and the other key setting is, is the 5-day range. All right, and also got change in 5 days, like I did over here in this one. I want it moving sideways over a 5-day period, so this range could not be any greater than 1%. So I've really got 3 key ones in this one: the change in 10 days to assure that I've had an up move, change in 5 days, a max of 1% to assure that I've had a flag being developed, and my 5-day range, I'm just using this to basically, I could have just come in here and did much similar to what I did with the other one, where I put the 5-day range at just a max of 3% and left out this, but I'm trying to eliminate some of those stocks that are buyouts that gap up and go sideways forever. Let's see, can you do a min volume as a percentage of the average daily instead of 300,000?
Volume today percentage, I do believe.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We have a filter called volume today. Yep, percentage. That would be what you want. But the problem is if you try to use, like, this calculates volume against the average day. So if you use 30% or something like that,
it's just another way of expressing
I would
relative
probably use
volume
relative
as well.
volume. Yeah, I'd probably use relative volume. Yeah.
If you want 80% more volume, you look for the ones either approaching that or that are that at 1.8. Yep.
Because remember, probably the best way to work it in this one, if you're using this, is focus on the relative volume right here. Okay, so if you're looking for high relative volume as it sets up, like this stag did, look up the relative volume. But once again, you can turn this into alert, but you get a lot of fakes. So it's really probably, honestly, for me, I think this would be a better swing trading than for day trading, because it's really hard to determine when these things are going to go. And getting back, a lot of these ones are trading near all-time highs, so they're a little bit bought. So you got to be careful. You got to keep them tight if you're wrong. Anyway, that's some cool stuff. Let me just share. I will go ahead. Let me put this back on live during market hours, and I will share this one. Let me just do this in case somebody wants the bull flag daily setup. And I'll drop it into the chat window of your GoToWebinar interface. And I'll just call this bull flag. And I'll also share this one that we just created here, this good score tight range. But really, guys, start to play around with those, because I'm telling you, you can get real creative with them. Okay, you can find stocks that are pulling back, maybe, and pulling. Like, in other words, if you're looking for stocks that are pulling back, maybe you say they're in the lower portion of their 5-day range, but now they are going sideways. So there's a lot of things you can do with them. You can get real creative. All right, let me put this one in here, and I'll call it good score, tight range. And all right, so let's see. Thank you, Waleed. I appreciate that. Bill says, who would like to talk about a scan I'm working on that looks for air between the moving averages and the VWAP? Well, we're not going to have time to do that today, Bill, but I tell you what, why don't you come in to the I know I've seen you in there pretty much every week. Come into our support session tomorrow, and you can share that, and we'll take a look at it for everybody.
Absolutely.
That's the best place to bring that up. All right, see you tomorrow then. Thank you, John. I appreciate it, guys. If we don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Scott, and he'll walk us out of here, and we'll call it a day.
All right.
Scott, I think.
Sounds good. A couple items on the way out. We have an ebook that's been out for a little while. Both Andy and Jamie contributed chapters to it. It's a good one to have. Keep it on your desktop. 5 ways to win in a post-BTFD market. Just go to trade-ideas.com/ebook. Put in your email address to get a copy. There's going to be a podcast. Well, we might have a new one up this Friday. I'm not sure. Some people are on vacation, but we usually release on Fridays. Search for Trade Ideas Podcast, whatever app you use to listen to them in, and add us as a subscription so you're ready to get the next one. There is a code. You can still use Spring Forward. Go ahead and use Spring Forward, all caps. Use that to upgrade 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas, or you can use that to do an upgrade from standard to premium. We have a recording of this webinar. It'll be up later on tonight or tomorrow. You can email info@trade-ideas.com with any questions. You can follow Jamie on Twitter at QuantBot. Also follow Steve Gomez at Today Trader, and follow us at Trade Ideas and Trade Ideas Pros, the Facebook handle, to share stuff with your friends. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jamie and Steve. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah, thanks for your kind words. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.